Number 9.
Hello, you're listening to Weird Tales, the Unexplainable, with me, Bob Shoy, Adam Tiss.
Hello.
And Beef.
Afternoon.
And I'm hosting this week. You're very lucky you're actually getting this show, because I've just got back from holiday, and Beef's going on holiday in...
like 12 hours.
In 12 hours at 2 a.m, so we're trying to get something recorded before he leaves, just to get something up. So it's not the extravagant Skype call-in haunted houses special I had planned, but we are recording something for you, just so something's going up. So, have I even told you guys what the theme of the show is this week?
No, you kind of you gave us a teaser in the kitchen, but
the topic this week is weird media.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm going to be it's going to be similar to our first episode where I went through a couple of like notorious stories, but these are all to do with films, TV, music, games. Some of them have been debunked, but they're still cool stories anyway.
Okay.
And some of them haven't. And so some interesting stories I hunted out yesterday. Some I was aware of already, some I wasn't. Again, before I crack into these stories, thanks to everyone. Our listenership is just rising and rising, and we're ecstatic.
Eternally grateful.
Yeah, and so keep sending your stories in, because I am doing my next show in 3 episodes' time. Will be the big Skype in haunted houses show. So if you have lived in, know someone that lives in, or has lived in a haunted house, you've got stories, and you want to come on and Skype in and tell us about them and discuss, then email me, contact us at unexplainableuk@mail.com, and we'll try and arrange something. That would be fantastic. Anything else you guys want to say before we crack in?
I am mega excited about the your next episode.
The Skype in.
Yeah, I'm really excited about getting some listeners in and just getting, getting some feedback as well, and don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
To some people, yeah.
Yeah, see who you guys actually are.
If also not just the haunted houses stories, because the next episode is going to be Beef's. He's tackling miracles. You got any cool miracle stories? Contact. And after that, Tissy's next show is
Sleep paralysis.
So if you have any stories or suffer from or know someone that does, please contact us about that too. Apologies for the dip in sound quality last episode. A few people contacted us about it, and we were aware, but it was too late by the time I went to edit the show and sort of like cleaned up the audio as best I could. But we have methods in place currently with our recording where it should be better sounding from now on. I was going to go, but they can't see me.
No.
I just kissed my fingertips. It's going to be like that.
It's a good job that gesture goes around the world as well.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of me doing that, and I'll put it on.
Something really offensive.
I'll put it on the blog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be different cultures, different meanings.
You ready?
Yeah.
So I've got some stories about computer games, some about TV, films, music. I'll tell you what, I'll start off with the computer games ones, because I've got them right on the top of my list here. Now, this is very apt, because I wanted to tackle this eventually. Our opening and closing music is the Lavender Town tone, or the Lavender Town theme, from Pokemon. And we used it for a good reason. You guys have heard about the Lavender Town syndrome.
Yeah, briefly.
In 1996, shortly after the release of Pokemon Red and Green, the child suicide rate spiked in Japan, and children aged 7 to 12 were falling sick or committing suicide. And many people believe it's to do with the sound frequencies used in the Lavender Town music, which is the ghost town from the Pokemon game. And then when it was released in the rest of the world, they changed the music. And that is why we use it for our podcast music.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't believe this is actually true. But it has never been proven to not be true.
Yeah.
It's the difficult one because it's one that you could never prove it to be true. You can't link that. Surely there's no scientific reasoning like that. You couldn't connect the two between. Oh, that is definitely because of this reason. Because particularly if it's only the sound frequency that children can hear. If you're an adult mortician, is that the right word? Is that the right profession? What does a mortician do? Are they people that like look at dead bodies afterwards to try and figure out how they died?
Am I going to have to edit you out so you don't sound stupid?
No, I don't mind sounding stupid. You guys know I'm not stupid.
Mortician's a funeral director, I think.
And the point I'm making though is that you can't, because if particularly if an adult can't pick up what children are, then you're not gonna be able to do it. So it's hard.
But I wanted to just drop that in and explain that's the music and that's why we use it. And that's what led me into thinking, well, maybe there's some more weird stories to do with this sort of thing. And there is actually another weird story to do with sound frequencies and lights in computer games. Now, there was a game called Polybius. Ever heard of it?
Nope.
No, I'm not surprised. It was an 80s arcade cabinet which was extremely limited and only put in arcades in the area surrounding Portland. Now, players suffered vivid nightmares and suicidal tendencies after playing, and the violently powerful strobe effects caused epileptic seizures, apparently. And the game, after a while, the game completely vanished. And lots of people believe it was... there's a conspiracy where lots of people believe that DARPA, which is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
Okay.
Real. It was them who put it there to test response to psychoactive machines. And DARPA are also behind MK Ultra, which was a CIA mind control program, so the stuff they've like dabbled in before.
Ooh.
Now, also, strange reports exist of men in black coming roughly once a week to these arcades where these machines were to collect data from the machine.
Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
What do you think about that? Bullshit?
Don't know. What was the game called? Polybius.
Polybius.
What were you doing in the game? What
was you doing in the game? Shall I see if I can get a little screenshot of Polybius?
Yeah. I don't know, I don't know if it's like a fighting game or like I don't know. What do you think, Tiz?
That's what happens when I tell these stories. That's Tiss's reaction every time.
Yeah. Strange if true.
It is interesting that it was just around Portland, like just one American area.
I have a little picture of the arcade machine there, but I can't tell what sort of game it was.
So what was going to be the purpose of this agency doing it? What would that to do?
No idea. It's a conspiracy theory. Oh, why they thought they were going to do it? To test response to psychoactive machines. What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's... I don't know. That's what I mean. What kind of benefit would that give them from finding that out?
Do you reckon there's any sort of weaponization involved? If they can make these people affected by these effects, they could like amplify to cause a bigger effect.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess we're naive
if
the
they were
most
behind...
likely application would be in torture or not major scale but small scale interrogation maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Probably not a game form, probably just in the visual form.
The other thing is if they were behind MK Ultra, which is the mind control thing, and maybe there were things suggested. There were slight suggestions within the game, which they could use in their mind control research, like, oh, can we make people feel nauseous? Can we make people have nightmares? Can we make people?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, well, we know it happens, don't we? So, it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know. I don't know whether they knew one of the risks would be that people would react that way and become suicidal, and then how they would. I don't know. This is why with these things, I'm not too sure whether I do believe they would do it, because I'd like to hope that they wouldn't risk people being suicidal.
But last time we recorded, you said you found some comfort in the idea that you don't know everything that these corporations and the government are up to. You just trust that they've got your best intentions in hand.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember saying it.
Okay, so that's Polybius. And I've got one more computer game one, which found kind of interesting. Have you ever heard of a game called Kill Switch?
Oh, I think I've heard of it.
Oh, really?
But not in the domain. I think I've heard of it in the sort of...
Heard of the story?
Area of conspiracies.
Yeah. Okay.
Not as an actual game.
It's a very generic sounding game.
It sounds really very
sounds like
original.
Killzone and Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this was a game that was released in 1989.
What's with the 80s?
Well, games were like rising, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a new medium. We can affect people through. Now, a Russian company called Karvina Corporation made the game, and they only ever released around 5,000 copies of the game. And the game could only be played once, and it deleted itself if you beat it, or if you died.
Alright.
At the beginning, you had two characters you could choose from. One was a young girl called Porto, and one was an invisible demon called Ghast. And the players can't even see. If you choose Ghast, even he's invisible to the players. Yeah, so it's pretty much impossible to play as Ghast. Now, the company put out a statement about the game, which said, Kill Switch was designed to be a unique playing experience. Like reality, it is unrepeatable, irretrievable, and illogical. One might even say ineffable. Death is final, death is complete. The fates of Porto and her beloved Ghast are as unknowable as our own. It is the desire of the Karvina Corporation that this be so, and we ask our customers to respect that desire. Rest assured, Karvina will continue to provide the highest quality of games to the West, and that Kill Switch is merely one among our many wonders.
Okay.
So you could choose to play as two characters, but because it would delete itself at the end, you would only ever get one side of the story. If you managed to complete it without dying, because as soon as you died, it would delete itself also. So this seems a bit like a pretentious art game at the moment. It gets weirder.
Mm-hmm.
So because there were so few ever made, and they deleted themselves, it's pretty much impossible to get a copy of the game, because they're all gone. But in 2005, a sealed copy of the game appeared on eBay.
Huh.
How much did it sell for?
5,000.
Dave?
10,000.
$733,000
Whoa.
to a Japanese man called Yamamoto Ryuichi. And he intended to record the playthrough for enthusiasts and for everyone to see what the game was like, because there were so many rumours of what the game was like and no one's ever seen it and stuff.
Good idea.
Right?
Yep.
Only one video ever emerged. It was 1 minute 45 seconds long. Yamamoto looking really haggard. You can see the character select screen just by his shoulder, and he's just crying. That video then disappeared, and that's the last that people have heard of Kill Switch.
It's weird. Again, what's the content? What do you do? No one. So you don't. No one knows.
There's no
I guess,
copies
like,
around to record it.
So they didn't. When they gave the statement, they didn't even tell. Like, I guess they wouldn't even say what the content was of the game.
There are. I won't go into them, but there are like. Online, there are like the rough storyline of the game and stuff is on there. Yeah. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to one of the websites that I read about Kill Switch on, where they've got like a lot more detail on what the game was about. But,
That's really freaky.
yeah.
Because it's like either it's another sort of government test experiment.
I don't know. It's kind of like, it sounds like one of those like kind of pretentious arty games.
Yeah.
Until you get to that bit at the end, you're like, what? that's the weird bit.
But that could be like awesome marketing.
Mm.
So I don't know. Did he then die?
I don't know. You didn't hear anything more about Yamamoto after that. And that video of him crying disappeared.
Can we get him on?
Yeah. I'll see if I can call it. Yamamoto, if you're listening, email us. We'll get you to Skype in. So that's Kill Switch.
Is that what you'd said you'd heard of it before, Tis? Is that what you'd heard?
I think I'd heard exactly that.
Yeah. It's quite like a famous story. That's the thing, you get these stories go around, and half of them are bullshit that's all made up on 4chan.
Yeah.
But, this is weird tales and the unexplainable.
Yeah.
If they're explained or if they're bullshit, they're still weird tales, so it still half counts.
Yeah, exactly.
I threw this podcast together last minute, so be happy with what you're getting.
It's really really apt that you chose this as a topic today, because yesterday I was so for listeners out there, all three of us are big gamers. These two more than myself. I'm not so much into games as Tis and Bob, but I was replaying Last of Us last night, which is easily my favourite game ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Just because of how it gripped me emotionally. It's such a good game. Anyway, so I then looked at on YouTube. They've got like the scariest or the creepiest Easter eggs that people put into, like developers put into games.
Okay, yeah.
And there's some on there that cause people to like just lose their minds for a bit, and like some of the ones are so horrible that it caused people to like have nightmares for weeks and weeks.
Really?
And and some of them are a bit unnerving.
I've seen some of them. I've seen the ghost lady that appears in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh yeah, I found that one.
Yeah.
I waited there all day on my bike waiting
Really?
for.
It's creepy.
It is a bit horrible.
Yeah.
And if you get too close, she disappears, doesn't she?
I don't know. I've just seen the screenshot. I didn't do it myself. I saw the screenshot.
Oh yeah, I did it myself. It's the only one I've looked at on like a forum or something and thought, I'll give that a go. Just had loads of time to kill one day and did it.
You're right, Tis.
Yeah.
What have you heard? Any similar video game unexplainable stories like this?
I haven't. That would be the one, the kill switch one.
The kill switch one. And the lavender town tone.
I've not heard of that as recent as the
Oh, really?
kill switch I had ages ago.
Yeah.
And that was from Pokemon Red or Blue?
Yeah, it was the first one, red and green,
Red and
in
green.
Japan. When it came to here, it was red and blue.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so I guess by the time it got here, they changed.
Yeah, they changed the
sound.
audio.
The one that we've got on our pod, is that the original? Do you know?
I never know, because sometimes you click on the links and it's like the original Lavender Town music, and they're all different.
Okay.
So I've got one of the Lavender Town musics. They sound really similar. The one in the Japan, the one that released out, but they took out some of the background tones, which is what it almost supports the theory, because they wouldn't they just change the music completely? Why only take out certain tones in the backing of the song? Anyway, that's my weird media computer games. This have you heard about broadcast signal intrusions?
No.
No? I might get you guys to come round and look at a few of these in a minute.
You mean like radio broadcasts? Or?
Well, this is television broadcasts, is what I'm talking about here. Basically, someone hijacks the broadcast signal.
Like V for Vendetta?
And takes over the TV.
Huh.
Now,
does that actually happen?
There's one which is the most famous one, which is the one I'd heard of. Do you remember a TV character from the 80s called Max Headroom?
Don't know.
He, I'll get a picture of him up. Alright, Max Headroom, he looked like this.
Oh, yeah, kind of. Yeah.
He was like supposed to be an AI. He was like an MTV sort of creation. He had his own show, and he just did the Coke adverts, I think. Anyway, on November the 22nd, 1987, there was a silent invasion on the news, on American news. It was only about 45 seconds long. I think even less than that, actually.
The American news?
Yeah, and it was someone wearing a Max Headroom mask just appeared on the telly when the news was supposed to be on, and it was silent, just like static in the background. And then it faded out. And, okay, that's weird enough. 2 hours later, there was a 90-second invasion, so that's quite long, about a minute and a half, during showing of Doctor Who, with this guy in the Max Headroom mask again. But it wasn't silent. Very distorted audio, and he's talking about things like the frickin' liberals, and it ends with someone spanking him with a fly swatter So obviously this freaked people out. Like, they're trying to watch Doctor Who, and then you got Max Ribbon's a kind of creepy looking character anyway. So when it's like hijacking your TV sets and spanking and stuff like that, it's really unsettling. But the guy who hijacked in has never been identified or caught. So I've got a clip here if you want to see the hijacking.
Okay, can we come round?
I can turn it.
But it's the only way to learn.
I'll get you a hot drink.
Some dry cleaning.
As far as I can tell, a massive electric shock. He died instantly.
The generator? Were you always so careful?
What do you think to that?
I think that was just the episode of Doctor Who that week. I think they were low on budget and thought, let's just do something a bit odd.
Wow.
Can you imagine watching that on telly at the time?
Strange.
Really unsettling.
But he's not really... He's not barking on about anything in particular.
No,
he says a little bit about freaking liberals
Yeah, at the
and
beginning.
like newspaper nerds, and I think it's, to me, it's just someone having a laugh.
Oh,
like
yeah, definitely.
someone who, like, he's figured out how to hijack it, and he thought, I'm just gonna do it. Like, let's just go for it. Like a minute and a half, and yeah, he doesn't really seem to have an opinion on anything. He's just
No,
saying
there's no
stuff.
agenda to what he's saying.
No.
When I was watching it, when I was playing the show, I was thinking, did he plan this? Did he like script it? Did he know what he was going to say, or is he just making it up on the spot? Because half the time it feels like he can't think of what to say. But then it's like almost choreographed where he's getting like spanked and stuff.
Yeah.
That's got to be planned. So I don't know how much of it's planned, but it's really, really strange. But the guy who did it was never caught, never identified. They never caught him, and that was in 1987.
Wow.
I don't know how easy it is to do that now.
I'd imagine it'd be much harder to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, it's not really. It's analog TV then, isn't it? Would it be the same thing?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they run the system now.
This happened again. There's a few times it's been people have hijacked into telly. I've got one more clip on here. Now this is from 1977, so this is actually 10 years earlier. But I hadn't heard of this one. Now this was November 26, 1977, and this was on the UK news.
Almost exactly 10 years before.
Yeah,
Wasn't it in November the 27th?
It was November 22nd, 87, and it was 26th, 77 in the UK. Now the news was interrupted by an alien.
By an alien?
Mm-hmm. Police were bombarded with calls from panicked viewers, and the culprit was never identified because he made off in his flying saucer.
Yeah, back on.
I haven't watched this video myself.
Have you not watched it yet?
No. 1997 alien broadcast live on BBC. So we'll see if we think
The
it's a real
Rhodesian
alien.
nationalist leader, Bishop Abel Muzorewa, has accepted Mr. Smith's offer to negotiate an internal settlement based on one man, one vote. But, he says, there are conditions. These include stopping the execution of all captured prisoners of war, applying European state negotiations. In Australia, Mr. Derek Mago's creditors are still pleading the right. This is High Court decision. Smith banned them playing test matches.
This is the voice of Rima, representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command speaking to you. For many years you have seen us as knights and experiments. We speak to you now to say the same as we have done to your brothers and sisters all over this, your planet Earth.
Can you make out what he's saying?
Not really.
No, I can't. He said that he's Vrillon from the Ashtar Galactic Command, or Asteron from the Intergalactic Mission. With a warning, as we enter the period of Aquarius, weapons of evil should be destroyed, and we should all learn to live together in peace or leave the galaxy. And it goes on for about 5.5 minutes.
I don't listen to all of it.
No, I'm done. I've got an idea.
Wow.
And the guy who did that was never identified either.
How strange.
Hmm.
Maybe they were, and maybe we just didn't know about it because the police killed them.
Maybe, yeah.
They
They
held
were
up in
tracked down and
Guantanamo.
removed.
Yeah, it's just someone having a laugh, isn't it?
Yeah, it's someone having a laugh.
It's quite interesting, though.
It's interesting how they were never caught, and I'm surprised it didn't happen more. If it's possible to do, I'm surprised there's only a few incidents that people have recorded of it being happening. Yeah, they're my TV ones. The broadcast things. I had a couple of clips to play for that. Now, I'm going to move on to films, and this is the thing that made me do the show. When we first recorded the first episode, you said to me about when the people filmed The Exorcist,
Yeah.
all the deaths that are around it, and how there's a few films where, you know, there's unexplained deaths or like bad juju surrounding the films in general. Phoebe, when you mentioned The Exorcist,
Yep.
what was that about?
I think they had just like an unusual amount of deaths per film. I can't imagine many people on a film set die. I think there was a couple of fires. It was like a fire somewhere on one of the sets, and if I'm right, I'm sure you'll tell me in a minute, but I'm pretty sure like one of the sets fell on someone, or there was accidents involving the set.
Right. This is what I know. 9 deaths were reported.
That's a
from
lot.
people working on the film, and that was cast, crew, and relatives of cast and crew during the time. There were unexplained fires as well on set, and so many weird occurrences on set that they ended up calling a priest to the actual set to get the set exorcised on the set of The Exorcist.
Wow.
But this is not the only film that is considered cursed.
Right.
And I have a few examples of apparently cursed films here. Now, the most cursed film that people consider to be the most is The Omen. Weird that a lot of these films are horror films as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say a bit about The Omen, then it's probably the only one I'll go into detail on. But okay, so here's a list of things that happened during creation of The Omen. Gregory Peck, who's the main actor, the producer, and the writer, 3 different planes, all struck by lightning during the time of filming. The crew was supposed to take another plane, but at the last minute it was chartered by someone else. They had to take a different one. The plane they were supposed to get on crashed and killed everyone on board.
Wow.
The director's hotel was bombed at the start of filming by the IRA. One of the animal handlers was mauled by a lion. Several other handlers were attacked by dogs. Gregory Peck's son committed suicide just before filming. Several crew were involved in a head-on car accident. And after release, the special effects director and his assistant were in a car accident. He survived, but she was decapitated. Right? Which is strange because they worked on the decapitation scene in the film. And this accident happened on Friday the 13th, 1976. Reportedly, the signpost on the road where this happened said Omen, as in the location, OMMEN, 66.6 kilometres. I call bullshit on that last fact.
Yeah, that's silly.
But still, everything apart, only the Omen sign I think is false. But it did happen, the dates are correct and everything. So that's a lot of bad juju for one film.
It's pretty bad.
I don't know how cursed a film can be, but it's interesting that it always seems to be these horror films, and a lot of them are to do with like demonic aspects where these bad things happen. What do you think about that, Tis?
Interesting.
You put any stock in it?
Elaborate.
Well, one side of it could be that working on those type of films attracts those type of people. I mean, apart from deaths, obviously.
Accident-prone people.
Yeah, well, not just accident-prone
Idiots.
people, but like, you know, when you go to a scary house,
Mm-hmm.
and in the back of your mind you're at a scary place, so scary things happen.
Mm-hmm.
You
interpret
could go to the
everything
same
about it,
house
yeah.
for a different purpose, and nothing would happen.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking about that. So, I don't know, but then deaths kind of can't really...
I do
equate
often
deaths.
think that. I do often think, like, when we went to stay at your mum's, and you told us these stories on the coach, these things that you'd seen or heard in her house, I kind of geared myself up for it. So every time I was, like, in bed trying to get to sleep and I'd heard something, my first was ghost. There's like, someone's going to come in and murder me. But then I thought, or it's the piping.
Yeah.
And it's like, so, yeah, I don't know. It could be attracting those types of people.
Have you ever seen The Exorcist?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I thought it was a bit boring.
Do you think it's the scariest film ever?
No.
Do you think when it came out, you would have been scared? So I feel like people are desensitized to films.
I think, yes, when it came out, I think it probably would have been. Because at the time it came out, there wasn't anything really like that. They hadn't, well, I don't know, maybe they had, but I don't think there was that much focusing on that particular issue. So, like, demon possession and stuff, I don't think there was. I think, because I remember reading that in the cinema when it came out, people were, like, being sick in the cinema because they were so scared. Now, I've seen it. I watched it when I was about 14.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I thought it was a bit boring. It was a bit kind of like...
for a 14-year-old, I think it's quite slow. At the age of 14, you want something a bit... If someone says it's the scariest film ever, you're like, this is going to be...
Yeah.
I think it is a scary film.
Yeah, but you know it's going to happen. Because there's, like, loads of stuff that happens. There's, like, the priest and the mum downstairs. She's like, oh, she did this yesterday, Father. And he's like, all right, okay. And then they go upstairs. And so as soon as the door opens, you're expecting it. You know. I don't know. So I remember watching it thinking, oh, I bet something's going to be happening that's a bit weird. And at the end, when it's like her head turns around and she's sick everywhere. And it's quite, I don't know, it's all right. Just not, yeah. I think because people hyped it up.
The walk on the ceiling.
Yeah, that was probably like the most
quite
unsettling bit. Because, like, yeah, the effects are crap. And I find that bad effects in films are quite scary.
I don't think that spider walk bit, I don't think was in the original. When they first put it out, because they didn't think it looked good enough with the effects. And then when they re-released it, when it came to DVD or whatever, that's when they put that scene back in, because they could remove the strings and everything. But
okay.
Yeah. You've never seen it, Tiz?
I've never seen it, though.
Do you have any want to see it?
No.
Even though it's the scariest film ever?
No.
Well, according to Channel 4's 100 Greatest Scary Movies, hosted by Jimmy Carr,
Right.
The Shining is the scariest film of all
really?
time.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to watch The Shining.
Have you not seen it?
We'll have a scary
Still
movie
haven't
marathon.
seen it. I remember talking to you like last time we did the pod about 3 weeks ago, and you still haven't. You need to watch it.
Tell you what, we'll watch The Exorcist, The Shining, and The Omen together.
Watch
think-
The Shining last.
Have you ever seen The Omen?
I've seen The Omen.
I've never seen The Omen.
I found that freakier. Like we pretty much did that. I was about 14, 15, and we sat there just like 6 of the scariest. The ones like in the 70s where they were really
You saw the remake
Of what?
of The Omen.
I didn't know there was a remake.
There was. That one came out, and then they did a remake of The Wicker Man,
Is
like
it
the
about-
next
Oh,
year
yeah,
with Nicolas
didn't that have
Cage.
Nick Cage, yeah.
Is The Omen about a kid?
Yeah, The Omen is apparently the kid is supposed to be like the spawn of Satan, isn't it?
Right,
It's supposed to be
okay.
like
I
the
haven't
son
seen
of
it.
Satan, but it's not. Yeah, it was quite freaky, but I don't really. I remember it didn't really freak me out. But the thing, like going back to the Omen and the stories, some of them are like a lion tail, like a animal controller getting killed by animals are unpredictable, aren't they? So those things you could kind of, and even the car crash with the decapitation could be coincidence. It's a lot of stuff to happen. I'll give you that. But some of it I heard and I thought, yeah, but that's you could explain a lot of it away. But I didn't know Gregory Peck's son committed suicide just before it was released.
Other films that are apparently cursed and have had lots of things happen on set, notoriously, Poltergeist, Rosemary's Baby, Rebel Without a Cause, and the Superman franchise.
Really? The Superman franchise.
Yeah, like
Even the
all the
latest
actors
one?
who play no, I think Man of Steel back the trend. Yeah, a lot of actors who have played Superman have obviously had bad things happen, like Christopher Reeves and that.
Brandon Ruth.
Well, you could say his acting
His career died.
Post that straight away.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. So out of those 6 films, 4 of them are horror films. And The Omen, Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, all very central to like demons and demonology and stuff like that. Interesting.
I think I'll come on to this when I do an episode on like demon possession in the coming weeks. But I do, and if you do an episode on the occult, I do think there's power in the occult. I don't think it's just this casual activity for people to take part in. I think I think there's power behind it. So with the ones where it's like happening in horror films, there's you can kind of make those connections, I guess.
I just think it's weird that out of Poltergeist isn't about demons or anything, but
no,
of those 6, say the 6 most cursed films, 3 of them are about demons. Interesting.
But it's also interesting it doesn't happen because I feel like every horror film the last like 5 years has basically been about demon possession.
Yeah, it's taken a massive
Just so much. I mean, not just Paranormal Activity, but like all the Exorcist films, like they did the Exorcist of Emily Rose, or whatever. All those films, like
The Conjuring.
Insidious, Annabelle,
all
of them, like Insidious 1 to 3. Like there's so many. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but I would be interested to see whether that trend continues through all these other films.
That seems to be like the popular thing right now. It was popular, it seems like in the 70s and stuff, like demon possession, and then not so much, and now it's very popular in horror films again.
Say something, Tiss.
I had something. I really forgot about it.
Do you think there's anything to it?
I don't know enough about it. This is the whole idea of the pod, actually.
To hear stories,
like
you
to
let
educate the listeners. With
someone else,
each other.
You know, this is what I really like about this pod, that we do rotate hosts.
Yeah.
And when I know next week, or whenever we record, when Beef gets back from holiday, he's going to be doing a show on miracles. Yeah. So I'm not going to read anything about any miracles or anything, and then I'm going to hear some weird stuff about miracles.
Exactly.
And the same for your next show. I'm not going to look up any stuff about sleep paralysis other than what I already know, and then I'm going to hear some weird stuff. And I like that. I really like that when it's not your turn, you get to almost be a listener.
Yeah, definitely. I love that.
Fair enough.
That's our unique selling point.
That's my
USP.
That's my role today.
The listener.
Have
we noticed?
I was going to say, actually, that's what I was going to say. When are we going to get a Ouija board into the...
I was going to do a show about Ouija boards. Because there was some guy that emailed me who had a bad experience with one. Yeah. And I was going to try and get him on.
God.
Really?
Maybe we should do the episode on Ouija boards and hear all the bad stuff, and then we won't do it.
I've done one once.
Have you? What was your experience?
I moved it.
You moved it?
Yeah, like a dick.
Maybe the demon made you move it.
Maybe. I was just trying to scare Ken and Goot.
Oh, really?
Was it just the 3 of you doing it?
Ben was definitely there, and I think Chips was there as well.
And what did he say?
I just made up some name because we did it and nothing happened for ages. It wasn't like one of the ones we bought or anything. We made it. We did it in my house in Wing, and I just made up some stuff. Yeah, because nothing was happening. I felt like Jibs and Ben knew I was moving it, but we wanted to scare Ken and Goot.
Yeah,
Nice.
I don't know. When I see you hear people, because there was a guy at school who used to bring his Ouija board in.
Right.
I won't mention his name.
Go on, I'll cut it.
I'll
cut it. Oh, did he used to bring it in?
Yeah, he used to bring it all the time.
Oh, I remember. Did he used to do it in the drama studio?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So there's a guy at school who used to do it all the time. He used to bring his Ouija board in quite a lot through 1 year.
Right.
And I remember.
Did you do it with him?
No, I wasn't really friends with him, so I never really did it.
Board, you say?
And I always think when they do it, I don't know what question I'd ask.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I haven't. The people that have died that have been close to me, I feel like I'm like, yeah, I haven't got anything to ask him. Like, apart from, did you have any money? Yeah, I'm like under the floorboards. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing of interest for me when I think of Ouija boards. I'm like, well, I have nothing to like gain from it. I don't know.
Nothing to gain, everything to lose if you have a bad experience.
And what are the chances of, like, when you do a Ouija board, are you calling out to someone you know then? Or is it just like anyone
That's what
around?
I mean. I don't know. I don't know whether it's
around.
Yeah, exactly. So what are the chances of it being someone you know?
You might get Satan. You might get the worst one.
Well, as you know, there's a lot of dead people.
Yeah, there is a lot of dead people.
Like, through the years, do you know what I mean? So
There's probably been
the
over
chance of
1,000
you
people
knowing
that have
them
died ever.
is
Yeah.
very slim. Very slim.
Yeah, you could get like your next door neighbour's like dead grandma, and she might be like, "Oh, make sure you look after the cat." Yeah, you might get some horrendously powerful. You might get Satan.
What's the other one where you contact spirits? Where you have your hands together?
Not divination. Where you mean like where they sit in a circle and
and you have someone and they talk.
Oh, what is that
Ghosts
called?
talk through it.
They did it in Only Fools and Horses.
Seance.
Seance.
Yeah.
Seance.
Yeah.
But seances are usually run by
Swindlers.
psychics. Yeah, people who have like a script in their heads, or they say things just like, I don't know, and then they play on people's. So someone might say, "Oh, can you see if Auntie Mabel's there? I want to ask her a question," and then they do. Do you know what I mean? I think, well, in my head, that's how it works.
Maybe we'll do a show which is seances and Ouija boards. It's just like Contact with the Afterlife show.
Yeah. Maybe our listeners can get in and tell us if they've had. So we've had a guy with a bad experience, haven't we?
Yeah, he said it wasn't directly involving using the Ouija board,
But it might be
it was
connected.
about the stories about Ouija board. He didn't tell me in person because he was like, "I want to tell it myself."
Oh, okay.
So I was like, "Well, I said I want to do eventually a Contact with the Afterlife show, and when we do, Skype in, that'd be great."
Cool.
But again, email us if you've got any weird seance or Ouija board stories. I'm not being dismissive about seances at all. I'm sure there are some fascinating stories.
Educators, feel free to educate us.
Yeah, I'm pretty much open-minded to hearing anything about anything. So, unexplainableuk@mail.com. We want to hear them. Now, I've got 2 more stories about films here.
Yeah.
And these, I think, are both nonsense. Okay. But we'll see. One of them I know for fact is nonsense, but it's a funny story. Now, Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do you know this one?
No.
Right. It's said that in the background of one of the scenes in Wizard of Oz, you can see a figure hanging from a tree. And there's rumours that someone killed themselves on set, and it wasn't noticed until after they got it together, and then they tried to cover it up. And in later, because on the original VHS you can see it, and any pressing after that you can't. It's been edited out. Now, there's many rumours as to what the figure is. There's a rumour that it's one of the Munchkins who hung himself because it's hanging off a tree due to working conditions. One of the Munchkins who hung himself due to a lost love. There are rumours that it's one of the stagehands for the same 2 reasons. There are rumours that working conditions, lost love. There's also a rumour that it was the actor who was supposed to play the Tin Man and lost the role. I can get a picture up if you want.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Apparently it was edited to look like a bird flying away in later releases. But let me get a picture up, show you guys. And I'll put a picture on the blog, of course.
Has there ever been any official reply to that, or is it pure rumour?
They say it's nonsense. The studio says it was a bird. They had birds on set from a local zoo on hire, and there was a bird in the tree or whatever.
I'll judge it when I see the photo.
Oh, I see, right at the end. Like they're walking towards it.
Mm-hmm.
It swings a bit, doesn't it?
Okay. I think this is what it looked like in the later releases.
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
So it should be there.
Right.
What do you think about that?
It's kind of separate. I thought it might have looked like another tree or something, but it's quite separate.
So it's definitely confirmed that is in the first one, that swinging object.
Apparently so. You know how like these rumours go around and around and around. A lot of people think this one's bullshit.
Can you get any of the old VHSs?
If anyone's got one of the original VHSs of Wizard of Oz,
This was...
hunt down that scene and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I haven't.
No. Like, we're talking... Yeah, it was made in
Like the
the
first
30s,
pressing.
wasn't it?
It's only on the first pressing.
But so presumably it went to cinema, no one noticed it. Went to VHS.
Because people could watch it again.
Back in those days would have been like a year.
A year? It would have been later than that. Were there even VHSs in the 30s?
What did it go
Wizard
to?
of Oz came out in the 30s.
Oh, yeah.
It was the first colour film.
That's ages ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
When it first came out on VHS, when VHSs came around, it was just the same as the printing from the cinema there.
It's a strange story.
Another fun story. This is
Fun.
Yeah, this is fun because it's nonsense. I wish I shouldn't have told you it was nonsense before I told you, because I should have showed
Yeah,
you
you
the picture and
ruined
you'd
it.
have been like,
I think the Wizard of Oz one's plausible. If
Really?
if it's the original.
you think they'd all
There's
come
no
out?
smoke without fire. Why would someone start it?
Which of the rumours do you think it is? One of the Munchkins or one of the stagehands
I
or the
don't
Tin
know.
Man?
Not the Tin Man.
It all seems so fantastistical.
Looks a
Could
bit
be a
too big
munchkin.
to be a munchkin.
Yeah, from a distance as well. If it was a munchkin, it'd be like tiny from a distance.
Like a thumbprint.
Yeah, it could be the lion, the cowardly lion.
Right, the film, Three Men and a Baby.
Oh, yeah. I know what this one is.
Is it the ghost on set?
The little boy or something.
Yeah. Do you know this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you know this, Tis?
No, I've never seen the film.
Okay.
Never seen the film.
Three Men and the Baby.
Quickly tell him what Three Men and a Baby is and I'll get the picture up.
It's basically Tom Selleck and two other blokes. I can't remember their names
Ted
right now.
Danson.
Yeah, that's it, Ted Danson, yeah. They're basically, they kind of... All, I haven't seen it for like 20 years, so I can't remember, but it's something to do with the fact that they all kind of have a claim to being father of this baby.
Right, okay.
And then there's another film that comes out later called Three Men and a Little Lady.
Yeah.
And it's just the
God.
same hijinks, but like 6 years later. It's like the
Hijinks
same
is the three
word.
people.
It's the same three blokes in it.
So they keep
I think it's. Oh, I think it's. Don't they like? Because I remember Ted Danson dresses up as a vicar and tries to.
I can't remember the plot.
I'm gonna have to watch them
I haven't
again
seen it
now.
since I was a kid. That's why I told you to tell
So
me.
in the sequel, though, presumably they're still shagging the same woman. All three of them. They're still...
No, there's no.
No,
It's
I mean
not
like another woman. Like they've done it again.
No,
It's just like, oh my god,
They're not like.
some woman with the same.
No, they're not.
tastes.
They're not like ganging up on poor single women to make a baby with them. And
No, just a coincidence though. Out of
No, it's the same
coincidence.
girl because she's gone from being a little baby to a little lady.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the sequel was like
There's another
the
baby.
first one was Three Men and a Baby, and then Three Men and a Little Lady was like a new baby, but it was like a little girl. The first one was a boy, second one was a girl, different women, the same three guys, still sleeping with the same, not the same woman, but a different woman. But
There's loads of crazy films that came out. That was like the time that Dunstan Checks In came
Oh,
out.
there's loads of monkey films.
Dunstan checks in.
Monkey Business.
Yeah. Monkey
Baby's
Trouble.
About. No, not Baby's About.
Baby's Day Out.
Baby's Day Out.
That's a great film.
Three men and a baby. The quest for three men.
Baby's Day Out was amazing.
So whose baby did it end up being?
No, it was okay. I've just reminded myself what it was. It was Tom Selleck's baby with his girlfriend,
Right.
or like his girlfriend's baby, and they left. She had to leave this baby for him to look after, so he got his two mates in to help him.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's just all hijinks.
Yeah.
There we go. And then Three Men and a Little Lady is Sylvia's work increasingly takes her away from the three men who helped bring up Mary, her daughter. When she decides to move to England and take Mary with her, the three men are heartbroken at losing the two most important females in their lives. That's it. Because then Ted Danson ends up, for some reason, marrying, like, dressing up as a vicar. I'm gonna have to watch it again. And Three Men and a Baby is directed by Leonard Nimoy. Mate, you got to get into these films. We're making a list. Shining. Anyway, back to...
Anyway, okay, so there's a long shot in the film with loads of hijinks going on. And the camera's panning around back and forth and all this. And during one of the shots, pans past the window, right? And looks in the background as if a small boy is looking at them, just standing behind the curtains, staring out. And all these rumours went around that the apartment they filmed in was actually haunted by a young boy. So let me just show you a picture of...
Wow.
Right?
Is that true?
Now, I'm going to tell you what that is. One, the reason it's not true, I'm here to debunk this one.
Go on.
This wasn't filmed in an apartment, it was filmed on a set.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Two, that's actually a cardboard standee of Ted Danson in a tuxedo.
That's a cardboard what?
Standee of
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson in a tuxedo. Like a big cardboard cutout.
Who's Ted Danson?
The actor. Yeah.
A kid actor?
No, the actor in the film is because it's just a small standee. It looks like a little boy. He's actually wearing a top hat, but because the resolution on these old films is so bad, it just looks like black hair.
Isn't it?
So Ted Danson is in that scene?
No, it's a cardboard cutout of him.
No, but that is
why is
Ted
Danson.
Danson.
Yeah.
Did someone just leave it there by accident?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It was there was a scene that was cut that had this cardboard standee in, but they left it in the background of this shot because they didn't know that scene was going to be cut at the time. So it was in the background, like, oh, it's still in the background from that earlier scene. Right. But because it's not established in the film, it's just in the background. No one's thinking, oh, it's that standee. They're like, it's a ghost.
And it's still in the film?
Yeah, it's in the background of the film.
Is it so? If I went and bought that on DVD tomorrow, that would still.
Yeah, still yeah.
Why didn't they edit it out?
I don't know.
That's so lazy.
So there you go. It's actually a cardboard standee. Ted Danson.
Wow. Oh, there's a HD picture there.
Yeah, see, it looks way more actually like a standee with a top hat on there.
It's so stupid.
That looks way more flat than the other one. The other one gives it way more creepy.
Exactly, and it looks creepy because it's so like blurry than our VHS qualities. But anyway, that's the one I'm here to debunk. Now, I'm going to quickly talk about... This is very renowned. Did you hear that Paul McCartney's actually dead?
I did hear that.
What?
He is.
There's a long-running conspiracy. This is... I'm sure many people listening know about this already. But Paul McCartney died in a car crash in 1966. And as to not upset the fans and not to like kill the Beatles off at the height of their popularity, the rest of the band decided to find a Paul McCartney lookalike to take his place.
So stupid.
Replaced by a lookalike called Billy Shears, or sometimes he's called William Campbell, on some reports, who was the Paul McCartney lookalike contest winner.
I don't buy any of that. That's such
I'm gonna get. Well, you're going to be eating your words when I show you some of this evidence.
I'm looking forward to this. I genuinely believe that as well.
No, you don't.
I do.
You don't.
For the sake of non-bias, I do. I believe.
There's websites dedicated to this.
Yeah.
So on the blog, I'll put a couple of links if you want to really dig into this. There's a lot. The walrus was Paul.
The walrus was Paul.
Yeah, that's another clue for you all.
Is that the actual lyric?
That's
or
the
is
actual
it...
lyric, and that's from Glass Onion by the Beatles. And on the front cover of Magical Mystery Tour, Paul was dressed up as a walrus. And apparently, in many ancient cultures, the walrus is a symbol of death. Well, let's get further into this. Okay, so the reason at the beginning of Sgt. Pepper's, they introduced the album and they say, the one and only Billy Shears. And people are like, oh, here we are. They're telling us. But they're just making up a silly name, you know, the Beatles. Now, this all spawned from the front cover of Abbey Road. They're all crossing the road, yeah? Paul's not wearing any shoes, mate.
Okay, and?
A lot of people thought, trying to tell you something.
What, the ghosts are barefoot? Don't have
The number
shoes in the
plate in the
afterlife?
background of the Abbey Road album. LMW28IF. 28IF. 28 if. Paul would be 28 if he was still alive and that picture was taken.
Okay.
LMW. Linda McCartney weeps.
Yeah.
Do you think they're clutching at straws here?
I think they're balmy.
There's a lot of clues.
I
Right,
just
okay.
can't.
Let me get the Sgt. Pepper's cover up, the album cover. I'm going to show you some clues.
Hey, I'm not saying never. I just think for them to have found the lookalike and for it to be perfect, because let's be honest, if it's not Paul McCartney, it's basically his twin.
Yeah, someone who can still write.
Yeah, someone who can still write the way he wrote and play the instruments that he played to the calibre that he played them.
Right, okay. So, very famous cover. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Okay? The yellow flowers down here. Left-handed bass guitar. Right?
Yeah.
Or, slightly obscured by this bush, P-A-U-L question mark?
P-A-U-L. Oh, right, okay, Paul.
Paul. Got it.
Okay.
Hand right over Paul's head. Like he's being blessed. Right?
Right. Okay.
You see how he's standing straight up and the others are like side onto him.
Yeah.
Apparently that's relevant. Right?
Okay.
If you look, I'm just going to pull up this image. Right, okay, so if you put a mirror across the middle of Lonely Hearts on the drum, you get I won, I X, he die. In other words, on November the 11th, he died. And an arrow pointing directly up.
And that's supposed to be Lonely Hearts backwards.
It's Lonely Hearts with a mirror across the middle.
Okay.
Right? On the inside cover, where all the lyrics are, you notice how Paul's got his back to you and everyone else hasn't. I can't get the image.
Yeah.
And the words "without you" from the song "Within You, Without You" right next to his head.
I'm not buying any of it.
Right? They're all spelling out letters subtly with their fingers. L, V, E. Spelling out the word love. Okay. Paul's not involved though. There's no I. Paul's apart from them.
Well, he's got his back to him.
You can put that back down now, so all I'm going to show you in images.
Right.
And obviously I'll put the pictures up on the blog, and I'll direct you to this website. Now, lots of backwards masking. If you reverse Revolution number 9, sounds like they're saying, "Turn me on, dead man."
Number nine. Turn me on, dead man. Turn me on, dead man.
Turn me on, dead man.
What's the actual lyric? What's he actually saying?
Number 9.
Number 9.
Just number 9. No, I'm not having it.
Strawberry Fields Forever. I haven't listened to a lot of these clips because I wait to listen to them with you guys. Okay, so if you reverse a section of Strawberry Fields Forever, it sounds like they're saying, "I buried Paul." Hear that in the background?
Yeah.
Very Paul.
Yeah, I'm not having that. Rubbish.
A lot of people say he's actually saying, "I'm very bored."
Yeah.
Listen to it thinking he's saying, "I'm very bored."
Yeah, that sounds more like I'm very bored.
Right, okay. There's more.
Okay.
I'm So Tired, the song "I'm So Tired," it sounds like, "Paul is dead. I miss him. I miss him."
No! Such rubbish!
Okay, I got one more. From the song "Blue Jay Way," it sounds like, "Paul died. Paul is buried." Believe me. That's supposed to sound like "Paul is bloody, Paul is bloody, Paul is bloody."
No.
Get anything from that?
No.
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 The thing about reverse music is like
You can make it sound like anything.
yeah. Yeah, I mean
That's
what they think John Lennon wrote the music in reverse and then played it back and was like, what does it sound like? Like he says pull his belly, and then it sounds like whatever it does, and he's like
for it to still be an actual lyric. Like I'm not having any of that.
Okay.
What's Paul McCartney said about it?
It's nonsense.
Of course it is. It's crap.
So you don't buy this? There's
No.
so many websites dedicated to this.
Of
It's
course there is.
interesting.
Turn me on, dead man.
It's interesting.
No, it's just rubbish. It's just absolute rubbish.
Well, talking of backwards masking, also the song "Kiss Kiss Kiss" by
Yoko Ono.
yeah. What does she say?
I shot John Lennon.
Yeah, I shot John Lennon. Do you want to hear that again, Beef?
Not really.
Shot John Lennon.
Ready?
Yeah.
So she's claiming here she shot John Lennon. If you turn it backwards. You think?
Again, it's like I can only just about hear it, but because you've told me.
Yeah.
I
can't believe that people actually spend their time digging these theories out.
Yeah. Like because if you'd have just played me that clip, I wouldn't have heard anything. I wouldn't have heard any words. But because you told me, oh, people think she's saying I shot John Lennon, I heard it. But like it's not enough, is it? It's rubbish.
Okay, one more. And this is bullshit again. This is like the Three Men and a Baby hoax thing. This was all advertising, but I thought it was a cool story. So, weird tales.
I was going to ask you what the remaining Beatles, the two of them are dead. Ringo, has he said anything about it?
I didn't have a look at what he said about it.
No one cares about Ringo anyway.
I just pulled out a few of the craziest things I could find, but there are there's loads of stuff that people dug out. So if you really are interested in what these nut jobs, not that we ever take a stance, believe about John Lennon Paul McCartney being dead, then
I find it quite interesting though.
Yeah, I like that people.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I feel like once the rumours started, the Beatles played with it.
Yeah, maybe.
And sometimes put these little symbols in to play with people.
Yeah,
but this is why people get desperate, don't they? And they start like listening to music. Oh, I wonder if I heard it backwards. They must have gone through They must have gone through all the other songs.
Yeah.
They wrote so many, so they must have gone through all of them, and then heard like a 3-second clip which sounds extremely vaguely like something like that, and then they say, "Oh, Linda McCartney weeps," or LMW. Like, it's just a registration plate. It doesn't mean anything. Carry on. Sorry.
Okay, so did you know there was another Beatles album?
Was there?
In a parallel universe where they never broke up.
Go on.
Right. A man called James Richards was chasing his dog in Del Puerto Canyon, tripped and fell unconscious. Claims to have woken up in another world, another Earth. And he was transported there by a man named Jonas. And Jonas didn't find it that weird because in his world it's happened a few times. People have moved between worlds. Jonas took him back to his house. They talked about differences between their worlds. And Jonas said, they got talking about Beatles, and Jonas was like, oh, I'm a massive Beatles fan. Showed him his collection. And the guy who went back was like, wait, I haven't seen these albums. Apparently there was another 4 albums. He was like, yeah, they're still around. And he was like, can I take one of these albums back from me? And Jonas was like, nah, it's against the rules. You can't take stuff back between worlds. Right? When Jonas wasn't looking, James Richard pocketed a copied cassette tape of one of the albums that was on the side for the album that was supposed to follow Let It Be, called Everyday Chemistry. Right? So he has this cassette, handwritten sometimes. Brought it back to our world. Started a website. And the website's called thebeatlesneverbroakeup.com.
Can you listen to this album?
Now, this is where it falls apart. It was all a little bit of hype to get people to listen to this tape that he had made, which was still quite a cool idea. And when you listen to it, you can listen to it and download it now. When you actually listen to it, it was made up of all the solo material that each of the 4 Beatles had done after they split up, and then he put them together to make songs
Right.
out of
Yeah.
like each of their solo material.
I was going to say, when he, like, if this was something that someone had said had happened, and he came back with this tape, say it was you, say you came out like, mate, I've been to a parallel universe where the Beatles never broke up, and this is their next album. For a start, I'd say, if you'd got me the album artwork, I might be a bit more believing. The second thing I'd say is, that's bound to be just unreleased stuff, or just hidden tracks that were on the albums.
But yeah.
Can I just say, if you came back from a parallel universe with a Beatles tape, that'd be the least of my worries.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
first question
no.
would be, what, how...
Yeah. No, hang on.
I think it would be very...
I've bypassed about an hour's of conversation. I would sit there and be like, mate, get the kettle on. Let's talk about this.
It'd be very irresponsible of you.
Yeah, first things first. Boil the kettle. Let's make sure you don't need to be sectioned.
How irresponsible is it to go to a parallel universe and be like, so, Beatles together still?
Yeah, exactly. How did they get onto the Beatles? When did this happen? Was it in the 70s or 60s?
Scientific explanation and...
You would never get to the Beatles. I'm sorry, but if you met someone in a parallel universe, I wouldn't talk about bands. If he was in a parallel universe, surely there's like there's lots of versions of yourself. Why did he not bump into?
In that parallel universe, he became John Lennon, and John Lennon was all the time.
Maybe in the parallel universe, he was Paul McCartney.
Turn me on, dead man.
Turn me on, dead man.
Right, okay, that's my weird media stories. Anyway, now, have you got any recommendations this week for anything?
No.
No.
No, only if you fancy something, it's not unexplainable because it's obviously something that people have developed. But if you're into video gaming and you've got like 15 minutes to kill, just YouTube search like creepy Easter eggs in video games. There's loads of stuff out there. It's quite interesting. It's just as someone I love Easter eggs. When I get a new game, I like searching for all the stuff that they put in, and the same with like films even as well, like the references people make. So yeah, it might be worth something to do.
My recommendation. I just got back from Edinburgh.
Yep.
And I said I was going to go on some ghost walks while I was away.
Yeah.
I went on some in York and some in Edinburgh, but I really want to recommend anyone who's visiting Edinburgh. I highly recommend a specific ghost tour I went on called City of the Dead. And if you go to the late night Double Dead tour, it starts at 10 p.m, runs for about an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. And it's fantastic. It's not your normal sort of ghost walk where you walk around, old guy telling your stories and it's fun for all the family. This is like late night, adults only, and you're going into old like prisons, underground, walking around tunnels in the pitch black by candlelight, telling you the horrific things that happened there, and it's I would definitely recommend doing it. It's fantastic. Cool. It's £13 per person.
It's not bad.
But you get about an hour and 45 for that. And you do get to go to some really cool places which you would never go. So going to Edinburgh, that's the one I recommend. There's plenty in Edinburgh, plenty of ghost walks. But from my research, I found this to be the one I would definitely recommend. And after going on it, I would definitely recommend this one. So if you go into Edinburgh, go on the late night Double Dead tour, City of the Dead. Fantastic.
Or what you could do, once you've done that, is something I learned when I went to Glasgow.
Right.
Was that a particular pastime that Scottish teenagers like to get up to on a Saturday afternoon is to go up the local park and throw fireworks at each other.
Really?
Yeah, it's so scary. Having said that, Scotland is a beautiful country.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed driving through it.
Driving through it,
well, we were in Edinburgh, stopping. And then we drove to my mum's house, which is like the other side, as you know.
Yeah.
So we ended up driving across Scotland to get to my mum's, and that was really nice. Yeah. So that's my recommendation.
Ghost story of the week.
You got it. Okay, so let me get a short one. This is one from Reddit. Someone sent me a while back. By the way, when I tell these, I never credit the people's name because I don't know if they want me to. So if you send me any of these stories on Reddit or to our email in the future, just let me know if you want me to credit you. I don't, just in case you don't want the credit. But
Or maybe you
Let me
can
know.
get people to say, I want to remain anonymous, but please
Yeah.
show my story. And if people don't do that, then you should assume that they don't care.
Really confusing it now. Okay, here we go. So this is from Reddit, and I posted a thing up there a few weeks ago for people to share their unexplained experiences, and this is one of the stories I got back. Ready, guys?
Yeah.
Ghost story of the week. So this is what it says. The one that sticks out to me the most is when I was a lot younger, between 6 or 8, I think. I played a lot with kids in the neighbourhood, as most kids do, and there was one girl I played with had a large doll house that her father had made, I believe. It was a huge house, fully furnished, with nearly a dozen rooms and an attic. The doll's house was probably 2 or 3 feet tall by about the same wide. It was size for Barbies, so that's quite tall. And we'd play with them sometimes. I remember nearly every time we played with them and put them down to do something else, watch a video, play a different game or whatever, when we came back they would always be in a different position. I remember one time that we were curious as to why they did this, so we took one of the Barbie dolls and put it against a screen window a few feet away from the bed. Then we went away for about 20 or so minutes and came back to her room. The doll was now under a blanket that was at the foot of her bed. It was very odd, to say the least.
She had a sister, didn't she, or a brother?
You think?
Yeah, probably. That's my first I go to my first port of call, but it could have been.
Well, you know what? My cousin, when he was young, I used to move his toys around.
What, for a laugh?
Yeah, when he wasn't in the room. Not for a laugh, actually. More to he loved Toy Story, and he had loads of the Toy Story toys.
Yeah.
So I used to move them around, and it didn't scare him because he believed Toy Story was real. So he just believed that his Toy Story toys would play when he was out there.
That's pretty cool. So you
So
were
I used to
helping
always
him out.
move them around, yeah.
That's nice.
But what do you think about that, Tis?
Interesting. I don't tend to want to debunk nor.
But you're not
Shy away.
debunking, because he's not saying, and if you're listening, you know, he's not saying, I definitely think this is exactly what happened, or I think it was a ghost, or I think a demon came in. He's just saying it's a bit odd.
Mm.
So it is a bit odd. It might have been that he had, but if this girl didn't have siblings, then that is really odd.
Very strange. It's similar to the one I told last time with the light. All the lights would turn off every time we left them on.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Yeah.
Anyway, next episode. When are you back from France?
I get back next Saturday.
Okay, we'll say for now, it's probably going to be a fortnight till the next one, and in a fortnight, you need time to plan as well.
It won't take me long.
Right, so in a fortnight, you've got a Beef hosted show about miracles, so we'd love to hear any of your stuff about that. And the week after that, Tis is going to be tackling sleep paralysis, so I want your stories about that too. Now, the email address again is unexplainableuk@mail.com. So message us anything there. We'd love to hear from you. And also any of your haunted house stories, because I'm going to be doing my Skype-in show for my next show. And also the blog, the companion blog, I always put up pictures and links and anything we recommend. Every time a new episode goes up, I update the blog. That is Weird Tales and the unexplainable.blogspot.com. Go on that if you want any further information on anything we talk about. Anything else?
No.
Anything else?
No, I'm going to France.
You're going to France. Are you doing anything scary there?
No. There's not really anything scary about
Are you drinking
France.
wine, eating cheese, and barbecuing?
Yeah, I'm eating bread, going to the bakery every day.
That sounds great.
I'm excited. Going to the beach.
Until next time.
Until next time, turn me on, dead man.